Welcome to the Recovery Roundtable podcast, where the journey to sobriety opens up through powerful discussions and shared experiences. Join your host, Mark, who will bring you stories of triumph and resilience from the heart of Pacific Shores recovery. Every episode offers insights and support, guiding you through the challenges of addiction recovery. Thank you for joining our community. If you're ready to start or continue your recovery journey, we're here to inspire and support you. Let's explore recovery together.
There's nothing off limits. So to start out, if you're comfortable sharing your name, where you're from, and what brought you here.
Let's see, my name is Faith Haynes. I'm from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. I came here from Tennessee, though. What brought me here was 6 years of being in the dark since my granddaughter was murdered in 2018. She was 10. That threw me into, I don't believe in God anymore. I don't have faith anymore. She was body number 17. So since a young kid, I've seen dead bodies. And so my whole family was taken from cancer, but she was taken from murder, and I couldn't wrap my mind around someone who could hurt a child. And so I wanted to kill the people that killed her and their children. This is just how I felt, you know. Yeah. I wanted them to hurt, and I didn't want God to talk to me ever again, because my faith grew because hers grew. She was 3 and 4 years old, and she was prayed over, and she's like, "Grandma, do you feel that?" She would go up and pray for you at 5 and 6 years of age, lay hands on you. So I believed because she believed, because she would say, "Grandma, don't you get it? Jesus tells me everything." And so it grew. But then when she was taken, he knew how I was going to behave. You know, if it's the God that I grew up with, if that's who this big, super higher power is, then you already knew. So you knew that I was going to walk away. And so I walked away and was in a very dark space for 6 years. Last year, March of last year, I went to Mississippi, which was a program like this. Very first one I ever went to. The rest of them were state-run. And I don't think they had the education back then about mental health. I really don't, because I think they just thought if you take the drugs out and you work the 12 steps, you'll be okay. That's not true. It just doesn't work like that. Because I was doing it. I had girls I was sponsoring. I was GSR in my home group. I was even at the world concept level. You know, so I was doing things to ensure my sobriety, and it worked until it didn't. And so I think I came here, actually, I was on the phone and I'm smoking crack. I mean, I'm sitting there, I'm on the phone calling rehabs, I'm on video with my daughter, and I'm doing all the drugs I can do because, you know, the pain wasn't going away. So when I got here, you know, I was a victim. I was angry. This wasn't going to work. I could be a poster child for AA and NA, and I'm not going to do it. And that I really literally changed my contract. I'm not doing NA and AA. I'll do Smart Recovery. But I think what this place has done where no one else could is you allowed me to make my own decisions. You allowed me to come to what you wanted me to come to begin with. But you didn't force it on me. You didn't force me to go to NA and AA. I had to go to meetings of some sort. But you didn't force God on me. You didn't force that I have to go back to sit on my knees praying. You didn't tell me I had to do that. The only thing you told me I had to do was go to group. And I went to group. I did those things. Reluctantly, a lot of times, because I wasn't getting my way. But
I remember that version.
You didn't tell me that I had to be here for 90 days. You didn't tell me that. Because I said, I'm 30 days and I'm leaving. Yeah. So, and then 30 days came and I stayed another 30. But you allowed me, and I think allowing me to come to those decisions and realizing what I really needed in my life in order to succeed in sobriety, that meant more to me than someone standing over me. You got to do this or you're going to get drunk. You got to do this or you're going to get high.
It works so well when someone tells you what to do, how to do, when to do it, right?
Right.
Said no
and
one
I
ever.
believe that's what this place, I believe that is the key. And you know, I don't know if I was ready. I just know that the pain wasn't going away. And I know that drugs and alcohol today will still do exactly what I want them to do. They're going to do it. Yeah. But there's no permanence in it. So then I have all the feel, and I don't feel guilty when I get high. So people say, you feel like, no, I don't. I don't feel guilty because I don't have anyone to do this for. I'm by myself. For the first time in my life, I'm alone. I don't have kids at home. I don't have a man. I don't have a relationship. I don't have a job. I mean, I'm blessed that I don't have to work. But the thing is I don't have to do this for anybody. The reason I came is because I'm just tired of the grieving. I was tired of the hurting, and I had a therapist who was willing to go in and hit the center of the onion instead of redoing everything I've done in therapy for all my life. And so it's just the way you guys went about it. I came in like I came in, and I rebelled, and I did rebel, just a little. But I did. But I'm glad that you allowed me to be that little child, because I was fighting it. I threw a tantrum, 60 years old, and I'm doing it my way.
Yeah.
You know,
It's cute when the little kid throws the tantrum, but as adults, when we start throwing it, it's not as cute.
it's very childish.
Do you mind if we dive into the process? Because you mentioned you were able to get results with the therapist that you hadn't gotten before. Do you mind kind of walking us through that process and how you were able to go through? Because I still remember running a group, and you shared what happened to your granddaughter, and the air got sucked out of the room. And to actually sit in that pain and to hear that. And I remember there was so much anger, there was so much resentment and pain. And I remember it was the first time that I saw you started to open up.
I wanted to choke you.
I remember that. I remember feeling the not quite, but I remember that. But through this process, you went from, and this is my perception, from this angry, bitter woman to now, like, you're one of the most loving people here that people just flock around. So do you mind taking us through that process of what happened, where you were able to get from what the victim, rightfully so, to now of actually enjoying life, as weird as that sounds?
It does sound weird. Like I said, my therapist went to the center of that onion, and the center of that onion was my spiritual malady. Okay, that's the center of my whole problem, because I gave up. Because you took something that was beautiful out of my life, out of all this death I've had all my life. Everybody's left me. Everything I love and everything I trust disappears. That was my perception. So I didn't want God in my life either. I don't want any kind of higher power.
Yeah.
And I don't put a label on it today. I can't. So when we started talking about Serenity and the surrounding events that happened with her death, she was in foster care, and my daughter has 4 years clean and sober. So my daughter, it was her daughter, and they wouldn't talk to me because I was so negative, I was so angry. I was very gone. And when I say gone, I enjoyed being in that dark place.
Yeah.
Even today, I can still say that. I enjoyed, because it kept you and everybody else away from me. You couldn't hurt me anymore. God couldn't get to me. No one could get to me. A higher power, which I call the universe today, because I believe if I give out good, then good will come back. So I had to forgive these people. Not for what they did. That's not my job.
Yeah.
But I had to forgive them for how they made me feel.
So how, because what you just dropped is like a nuclear bomb when it comes to emotions.
Oh, wow.
How the hell did you go from that rage, and again, rightfully so, to a place of forgiveness? Because that's what most people miss. Do you mind walking us through that path?
Yeah. I didn't know. I really didn't know what emotions were. I knew happy and annihilate. That's all I knew, because that's all I was allowed growing up. That's how the family was. And in my generation, it's you do as I say, not as I do. So to go from, all right, and we started, and it was a process, but the thing is, I had to learn what annoyance was. I had to learn what fear was. I had to learn what confusion was. I had to learn what content was. So I started compartmentalizing these. I put names to them. My daughter gave me a suggestion. She's like, Mom, when you start feeling things, why don't you put a name to it? So when I started feeling abandoned, that was Paul. That was my dad. It's not people that do it here. And when I was misunderstood and we couldn't agree on something, that's Stella. That's my mother. And so then when it came to guilt and shame, that was my kids, because I wasn't a good mother. So I learned what these feelings were as I felt them. I allowed myself to feel them. Forgiveness was a hard thing for me because I've never been forgiven. No one's ever protected me. So I've never known what that's like. So when I did feel secure and loved, that was my husband who passed away. It's the love of my life. So, and I have that. And with Serenity gives me joy. And when I felt happy, I put her name to it. But I learned to compartmentalize what's most important, what's not so important. So, my past as a teenager, a young child growing up, that's really not that important. I've done therapy on that. So I don't want to bring all that up. So I wanted to deal with the hurt that I had. I didn't feel guilt over Serenity's death. I was angry at my daughter, and I've never told her that. And I love my daughter very, very much. But I was angry at myself for not being the mother that she was to serenity. So I thought this was my second chance. So I was mad at the higher power for taking that away from me. But I had to learn where to put these feelings.
That was so powerful what you just shared, because we tend to project our insecurities on those that we love. And just the way that you're able to talk about it now is so incredible, seeing you go through this journey and being able to own that, of recognizing I was angry at my daughter because of the mom I wasn't to her, but she was able to be to the grandchild. So what I'm hearing so far is that the first step was to stop the sedation process,
Right.
which is really difficult. You did that for enough time. And then the second step, if I understood you correctly, is to actually begin to feel and then diagnose or label these feelings to better understand them.
Be present in the feelings that you have. Even though it was uncomfortable, I didn't know. I put it like this, if I was a being and God said, hey, would you like to go to earth and feel every emotion that you can feel in a matter of a blip second? Would you want to do that? And so she says, yes. And so I get to be present and feel every emotion in my life in a short span of time. And I get to be present with those feelings. I get to understand why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. And that was something that no one ever took care of. They took care of the outside. That's not what I need. Yeah. Because I can dress up the outside and wear a mask all day. I'm great at it. But I'm not good at changing the inside, because I was buried and I felt if I pulled Faith out of the heap, there'd be this big old hole that I couldn't fill. And they say, give it to God. No, you can't do that. Because miss me, okay? Because you give it to God and then you walk through the emotions the best way you know how. Because He doesn't take anything away from us. And I never understood that, because I've been giving it to God all my life. That's how I was grown. I was raised. So that didn't work. So now I have to sit down and do the work. So I free myself from blaming anyone or giving credit to anyone, because I do the work. So I give myself credit. I have to get up every day. And my first decision is not coffee or shower. Are you going to stay clean today, or are you going to get high? That's my very first decision before my feet hit the floor. And I have to make that decision. But you allow me to make that decision. You made me conscious. This program, this process has made me conscious enough to make that decision, to know that I want to stay clean more than I want to get high. Not for anybody. Yeah. Not even for myself. It's just because every day brings something good and bad. Every day brings feelings that I get to feel that are new. As uncomfortable as it is, I get to feel it. And I get to feel it and know what I'm feeling and enjoy the feeling, and then I can compartmentalize, and then I have another thing to add to my life. Do you know what I mean? I know it sounds so cliche, but really it's not. Life is not, my goal is not to be happy. Happiness is, I love Jordan Peterson. I love him. Happiness is not even a state of mind. Those are things that have no meaning. They have no depth. They really don't. What has depth and meaning in my life is I get to be a part of my son's journey. He picked up 2 years. I get to be a part of my daughter and my son-in-law's journey. They're picking up 4 years. I get to watch them. I get to watch another friend of mine that's here, and I get to watch her. She's missing someone a lot, but I get to watch her. She cut her hair. She's smiling. She's coming out, even though, and so to me, that is what's meaning. That's what has meaning in life, not these moments. It's these memorable things that we get to take something away from, and we get to use that somewhere down the line in our life. Even at my age, I can learn from an 18-year-old. And so that's amazing. That's what it's for me. This is what this place has done for me. I get to enjoy everything in life. I get to see the roses, I get to see the flowers. I get to see everything right here without looking over here at my future. And so I really believe that all of you guys just letting me be me led me to who I am becoming. And sober living, I would have never thought about sober living. 6 months here almost. I would have never been here 6 months. I wasn't going to stay. You guys got me jacked up. There's no way. But I'm glad I stayed. I really am. And my family's glad. They got their mom back. My son told me, he took me to the airport. I went home for Christmas. Just because my life is changing, because my son's working a program, doesn't mean my daughter-in-law's working a program. So I didn't react to that animosity. And it's okay that hurt people hurt. That's okay if you want to choose that. That's good. I can't anymore. But when at the airport, I was leaving, my son held me. And he cried like a little boy. And he said, for the first time in my life, he's 41, remind you, I have a mother.
Wow.
I have a mother. 41 years old, and he finally has a mother. Really? Wow.
How did that feel when he said that?
It felt good and terrible at the same time, because, oh my God, wow, it's all he ever wanted in his life. And I just, it was all about me, I did drugs with my kids when they were young, and it's horrible. It's not a good thing to do. But I wasn't a mother. I gave them everything they needed physically.
Yeah.
They had nothing. And so for me to actually be alive, to hear that come from him, and when we stepped away, there's a puddle on the concrete where my kid was crying. That made me, it's not a great thing, but it is a great thing. Absolutely. It's not a terrible thing, but it is a terrible thing for all those years, when I could have maybe encouraged my kid to do something different, But now I get to be a part of his life. I'm someone he can count on. I'm someone both my kids can count on. My daughter has a mother that she can talk to, and she can speak her mind, and I don't take it personal.
Yeah, when we finally step out of the darkness and into the light, we're able to be a conduit for so much good in this world. And we can't undo what was done, but what we can do is reflect to make sure that we continue making these better decisions, and hearing that you spent so much time in the dark and then now in the light, and it's affecting your entire family. They're seeing it, they're feeling seen, they're feeling heard, they're feeling safe. That is amazing. So you kind of shared on life before. What is life like now?
Oh my gosh, it's wow, it is see, I don't see what you see. I don't see what my kids see. I see this person that I was at a young age, that I was this outgoing, I love people, I love doing service. But today, I'm that same type of young girl inside, but it's a joy to open my eyes every day. I'm not like, oh my God, I'm alive again today. Because for many years, that's how it was. I'm like, really, again today? Can't you just let me go? But now I look forward to what is next. No matter what happens during the day, it's like I know that I can conquer it. I can deal with it. I don't want to say tools, it's so cliche. I have ways. I've been taught certain journaling. And I don't write, but I talk because my hands hurt, but I journal, and I have Preston's guided journal. I love that. And my kids each got one. So they got one for Christmas. So they both are there. All of us are journaling. So that helps a lot, because it doesn't matter what goes on during the day. I get to look back, and see where I was and see where I am emotionally, because that's what it's all about for me. It's the emotional high. It's the adrenaline. I'll never jump out of a plane again, but that was good.
Why don't you share about that experience?
Oh my God.
You made a conscious decision
yes.
to jump out of an airplane that was not on the ground. It was, 15,000 feet up, something like that?
Oh my gosh.
How was that experience?
Oh my gosh. It was freeing. I felt alive, but I'll never do it again. Never.
Bucket
never.
list check and done.
Exactly. It's done. Next stop, Vegas, But I made my daughter a promise I'd wait 5 years before I go gambling again. So.
All right.
Because I used that as an outlet before I ever picked up the drug. I seen the behavior coming. I welcomed it. So, but I don't know. You guys have given me a different outlook, a more positive outlook. And it's nothing that you really did. You just allowed me to do the walk, and you allowed the changes to take place without pushing them. And I think that means so much more to an addict or an alcoholic like me.
Well, that's what we do, is we help expose the core and then teach you how to get out of your own way so you can heal from the inside out. So you can build a life where you're smiling and full of joy, where you don't want to sedate. You have that decision every morning. Do I want to live today, or do I want to go back to using? Today, it's an incredibly easy decision. I'm all in. Let's do this.
Right. And I read your book, and all of the stuff you put in there. I'm not sure if you're one of us or not, but even if you are, you see things, and even if you weren't, you see things that the average Joe wouldn't see. You know what I mean? So I think that you've done a lot in the last 20-some years you guys been doing this, I believe that you have probably changed your perspective on a lot of things, because I really wanted to choke you in that class. But, you made a lot of sense. I just didn't want to see it that way because I was comfortable being angry.
Yeah.
And you really turned it all around for me, and I said, maybe this guy knows something that I don't know. So I just allowed your voice to stay in my head, and I listened, and I paid attention to what you're saying, and I read this, and a lot of it makes a lot of sense. I don't know if the pathway for my higher power is what they all speak about, and I don't know if that's going to lead me back to. So now I just talk to Serenity, because she gave me a lot of joy, and I just say I would like all this for the people that I love and the people that are struggling, and I name them. And so I'm hoping that it goes, to, if it brings me back to what I grew up with, fine. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But I have contentment and peace in my life. I am peaceful, and I don't hit my knees every morning and pray. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't, because that's where my path is right now. 6 months from now, it could be different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just am not willing to repair a relationship again right now.
I just appreciate how open and honest you are.
Yeah, I have to be, because
It's wonderful.
I know that I go to meetings, and I hear people say, "Oh, just give it to God," and I want to get up and choke them. I want to I want to throat punch them, rather. I really do.
Throat punch.
I do, because it's like, you can't do that. That's not, because people who have had, and we're human. Okay, I don't understand everybody's ways, just like I didn't understand my mother's or my father's. So I can't say that I see the end picture when someone else may see the end picture. So I don't know if it makes sense or it doesn't make sense. I just know that I don't want to blame anyone anymore. Yeah. And so I don't put a label on my higher power, because, see, I can't blame you or give you credit. I can only blame and give myself credit. So if things go south, that's my fault. If things go good, I have a little bit of credit in that. And then I have the other people in my life that have helped guide me.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys have done great. And I don't know the exact thing you guys did. I just know that you allowed me to be me.
Yeah, that's the magic sauce.
It is.
So yeah, there's a great line. It says, "Seek and ye shall find." So just keep seeking. It's a beautiful way to live, not being tied to any outcome, and just say, I'm gonna keep asking questions and keep seeking, and we'll see where it goes. I thank you for taking the time and coming here to do this.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I like wrapping up with a specific question, and it goes a little something like this. What, if you could go back to that faith that was hurting, what was the thing that you needed to hear that would have led to getting help? Because somebody listening to this right now might be where you were and saying, there is no God. I have all these issues. All this stuff has happened to me. And you have done the work. So I'm curious what you would go back to tell that future or that previous version of yourself. What was she needing to hear?
It's okay to be okay with what's wrong with you. Jelly Roll summed it up. It's okay to not know. It's okay to act a child. It's okay. It's okay. It's just okay. It's okay to ask the dumb questions. It's okay. And I think that's what I needed to hear, is that it's okay to be all right with what's wrong with me. I'm okay with that. It's just, it's okay, because I had all this stuff going on. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't even know what they were. And it's okay to be in chaos and be happy for someone else. It's okay. It's just okay. I mean, that's the biggest thing you guys told me. It's okay to be okay with me. That means a lot.
Well, it's been amazing watching your transformation from the version of you that came into who you are now.
You see. I swear.
It's been amazing to watch, because you are very outspoken and verbal, and in the beginning it was difficult to say, here's the way, but it's a gift. No one's going to force it on you. And somehow you kept making the decision. I remember you even came to my office a few times, like, I'm sorry, Mark, I was doing this. I'm like, you know what? It's all good. The fact that you're still here and you're going through this process. So it has been awesome watching this transformation. So thank you for allowing us to be able to witness you doing the work and getting the results. I'm doing my rad T. It's hard. It's very hard. Okay, I can't remember these things, so I'm going to cheat. Probably. But Preston's going to help me with the resume, and
I told Tim. Tim said to give the resume to him. So if I can work here, fine. If I can't, there's plenty of resources to. So yeah, this is what I'm going to stay in California. So I'm not going anywhere.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe and send this to someone that you know.